For many years, the world has wondered why prescription drugs and pharmaceuticals in the United States were so much higher in price than they were in any other nation, sometimes being 5 to 10 times more expensive than the same drug manufactured in the exact same laboratory or plant by the same company. It was always difficult to explain and very embarrassing because, in fact, they have no correct or rightful answer. The pharmaceutical drug companies would say for years that it was research and development costs, and that all of these costs would be for no reason whatsoever borne by the suckers of America alone. Campaign contributions can do wonders, but not with me and not the Republican Party. We are going to do the right thing, something that Democrats have fought for many years. Therefore, I am pleased to announce tomorrow morning in the White House at 9 a.m., I will be signing one of the most consequential executive orders in our country's history. Prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices will be reduced almost immediately by 30 to 80%. They will rise throughout the world in order to equalize, and for the first time in many years, bring fairness to America. I will be instituting a most favored nations policy whereby the United States will pay the same price as the nation that pays the lowest price anywhere in the world. Wait, so this wasn't, hold on. Wait, this isn't true? Oh, I see. Hold on. I see. Okay. Our country will be finally treated fairly, and our citizens' healthcare costs will be reduced by numbers never ever thought of before. Additionally, on top of everything else, the United States will save trillions of dollars. Thank you again for your attention to the matter. Make America great again. Honestly, this is pretty huge. Like, I mean, what is it then? Hold on. Wait, how is he going to do this? How is it? No, I mean, this doesn't have any details on like how he's going to do it. So like, from what I understand, I mean, you know, obviously this thing's like really fucking complicated, and I'm gonna be real, guys. I'm not like the kind of person that does like, I'm not, you know, I don't have expertise 10 in like in fucking American medical system, obviously, right? This is all just like kind of base observations and stuff, you know, obviously. But I thought that's what was happening, was that basically a lot of the development costs, since like stuff was developed in America, like they would have like research costs, right? But then other countries would basically threaten to like make generics. They basically threaten to like break like the intellectual property of like this. So okay, so it costs a lot of money like to develop a drug, right? Like, you know, you had to like send people into like the fucking, you know, you had to hire like you know, some of the most expensive people, like scientists. Scientists are like really expensive, like compared to like other fields. Like it costs like more money to like hire scientists because it takes more money to develop a scientist. So anyway, it takes a lot more money to develop a scientist, and it takes like a very specific like stat spread in order to like have a scientist. Because of that, again, it's expensive to hire them. Also, you have to send people into the field, because then you have to like, you know, research stuff. I don't know, send people on like fucking rainforest, like find different compounds, and it's like a pain in the ass to like develop any. And then you have to do testing. You do like testing on animals, testing on humans, you know, studies like on like the possible side effects of this. And then you have to pay lawyers. You have to pay lawyers, and like in the case that you get sued, you have to do all this fucking shit, right? So it's really expensive to develop drugs in the first place. Like drugs are like one of the most expensive things probably to develop, right? So now that you developed a drug, right, you have to reclaim all, you know, profit wise, you have to reclaim all of the back costs from that. So like all of that, like the scientists, the you know, you have to put aside like some money, like in a war chest, just in case you get sued. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff involved in that, right? But here's the thing: is you have the drug now, right? So now you've developed the drug. You spent all this money developing the drug, and now you have it. And you're like, okay, now I'm going to sell it for this amount of money because this amount of money will like make me profit, right? But then you have another country, right, who goes, yeah, you know what? How about we buy one, we reverse engineer it, and then we sell it ourselves? How about that? How about we do that? And so what they do is they strike a deal with the drug company. Well, the drug company's, fine. If you're going to fucking do it anyway, like you're going to fucking steal our shit, you're going to like fucking dupe it anyway. Like, okay, fine. We'll sell it to you for less then. So what happens is other countries who are able to strong arm the drug companies under the threat of just breaking their intellectual property, because they can make they're going to make rules like, oh, well, you know what, if it has to do with health, then yeah, we don't care about your intellectual property, right? Because it's a health thing. So like, why would we care about it, right? And now, so you have that case where the drug company is like, well, we got to make money. We still got to make up for the money, right? So like, maybe we'll just charge Americans more because we're protected in America. So he's like kind of not wrong, right? So now like other countries like are able to do that and like kind of run generic, like they have the threat of generics that they can leverage. Whereas like in America, you can't do that because like we have our own copyright law, and since like the drug development is like in America, then there's that, right? So that's like at least my understanding, my rough understanding of like how like logically it makes sense to me. So the problem is like if you do that right, they have to recoup their costs. Otherwise, nobody wants to be incentivized to like create cures. You disagree with me, Axel? What do you disagree with me on? Abolish drug patents. It takes time to reverse engineer drugs so they have a monopoly, just not forever. Well, I mean, the problem. Okay. Well, how long is that? Okay, so let's take that logic, right? Of like fuck them, like let's just like it takes time to reverse engineer a drug to have a monopoly. It doesn't take forever. Well, like okay, what if in a world that's faster? Then does that not apply? Like that kind of like logic like only applies in the short term, right? And it depends on the type of thing, right? It depends on the type of drug that you make, right? Obviously, there's a lot of factors in that, but in the case that like you could immediately replicate it, then it would basically cut into the drug company's profits. And the thing is profit drives innovation, right? So the argument would be that the argument would be that it's because the United States propping up pharma monopolies through overregulation, so people can't mass produce drugs for cheap. And that's what I'm thinking, Axel. There might be like, okay, so there might be ways that we can fix it, and that's my question. Sorry, I don't disagree with that, with what you said. I'm saying basically like the reason why this is occurring, right, is that the drug companies have to recoup their costs, right? But it's possible we could lower those costs of them creating the drugs in the first place, right? Like I mean, just to throw an example, I don't really. Obviously this isn't that simple, but let's say they made it so you could never sue a drug company, then they wouldn't have to hire lawyers and have the war chest in order to like protect themselves from lawsuits. Again, I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm giving an example of like a thing that you could cut that would lower the cost for the drug companies in order to like, but still keep it so that they're making a profit, because profit actually drives profit is what drives innovation, right? This is the reason why they're making the drugs in the first place, to make money. You're overestimating how much it would cost to make drugs and underestimating the greed of these massive companies. That could be a thing, supersonic, but you're estimating how much it costs to make drugs and overestimating the greed. Again, like I said, I don't have the like I don't know, right? Like there could be. I'm not a drug. I'm pretty sure like probably nobody knows that except for the drug companies themselves. Oxide says, don't allow companies to patent drugs that the majority of R&D is subsidized with taxpayer dollars. Yeah, I would be for that, actually. That is a good, yeah, I'd agree with that 100%, Oxide. The reason why drugs is so expensive is because over-regulation that prevents competition and create monopolies, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we'll see. We'll go back to it. We'll go back to it when we actually have the full information, because like this is just a teaser. Like this doesn't actually like say anything. Like all this says basically is like, I'm gonna fix shit. But it's like, okay, well, how are you gonna fix shit? I'm interested in like what the actual solution is, not saying that there's gonna be a solution, right? Because this is all like, it's easy to say like, we're gonna cure cancer when I become president. Like it's easy to say that, but like, how are you gonna do it, right? Anyway, yeah, I don't actually know how much it costs to develop drugs. I'm just basically like making a honestly, I mean, to be real, I mean, I already said I don't really have an expertise. Like, I don't have plus 10 expertise in this. So I don't know, like, the actual, like, numbers behind it. I'm just making an assumption based on what logically makes sense, right? From just the understanding of, like, how innovation works. Because innovation is driven by incentive, and profit is an incentive. Does that make sense? And, like, obviously there are darker sides to that, as in, like, people will try to abuse. And that's obviously a thing, which goes back to my point of there are cases in which like it is warranted that the drug companies do need money in order for innovation. But what are the things that Trump can change? Like, what are the levers that he has access to in order to fix this? And that's what I'm interested in. But we're not going to find out about that until like later, until he actually announces like what he's going to do. So right now we're just speculating.